Hi, my name is Jeff Aaron, VP of Enterprise Marketing here at Juniper, and I'm excited to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, wireless. More specifically, AI-driven wireless. We're at a fundamental shift in the wireless landscape where for the first time ever, we're able to use automation, insight, and assurance to deliver the best wireless user experiences. For the first time, wireless becomes predictable, it becomes reliable, it becomes measurable, all while saving time and money. So let's get into it. I'm not a spring chicken. I've been in the networking space for, over 30 years right now, and a good chunk of that has been spent in the wireless domain. And while a lot has changed in this domain, a lot really hasn't changed, right? In that the requirements are still the same, right? I need to connect to the wireless, it needs to be good, and it needs to be cost effective, right? I'm always needing to do more with less. But what has changed is the way we're actually able to address these problems. Thanks to technologies like AI and the cloud, we've been able to actually shift the model on its head. We've been able to move from one where all you can really do is measure uptime and is the network and the APs and the controller passing traffic to one that's really focused on user experiences. More specifically, what we want to do is make our operators, our customers, their experiences better, whether it's an IT administrator at the Gap or someone managing the network at BT. We want to make their experiences better so that their customers can get their jobs done efficiently, that they can be more productive, whether it's a shopper at the Gap or someone watching the Olympics in London streaming over BT's network. So that's what we mean by experience-first networking. Juniper was really the first to embrace this notion, this shift from one focused on network connectivity to one focused on user connections and user experiences. And we fundamentally believe that there's three things that are needed to deliver this. There's automation, again, largely driven by AI and other technologies to really reduce costs and increase optimization, increase efficiencies. There's insight, again, not just insight into actual network experiences, but insight into user experiences. For example, if I show up in a hotel and I pay for a Wi-Fi service, but I can't get my email, that's a bad user experience while the network connectivity might be there, right? So user experience and network experience is very different. And we want to give you insight into the actual latter, the user experiences, as well as the network and the application experiences. And then lastly, there's assurance. The fact that the network is doing what it's supposed to be doing and that the users are able to get access to whatever they need to get access to. So automation, insight, and assurance are the fundamental pillars of any experience-first network. What's unique about Juniper, in addition to espousing these different areas, is the fact that we do it from client to cloud. We have all the solutions in place with a vision of bringing them under a common cloud and common AI engine from the minute a client gets on the network and accesses the wireless domain to going across a wired backbone, going across a WAN, to the data center or cloud to get the applications they need and deserve. That client-to-cloud experience is all unified under a Juniper solution, which really makes us unique. Now, we're talking about wireless here, and so I do want to double-click on some of the experience-first networking pillars specifically to wireless. And I touched on these a little bit a second ago, and now I want to go a little bit deeper, leading into an actual demo, right? The first thing is to actually set, monitor, and enforce the best user experiences. You actually need visibility into those experiences and the ability to do things like service levels to set, monitor, and enforce them, right? So we're the only vendor, literally, we started with a clean sheet of paper and said, look, if we were going to measure user experiences, how would we do it? And it starts with data. So we actually rewrote the control plane on our Mac, on our APs, to collect 150 user states from every client in real time. You combine that with telemetry data from routers and switches and firewalls, and you get that level of visibility into user experiences that no one else can provide. That data needs to go somewhere. And so one of the things that we did is we were the first to use a microservices cloud to collect that data for processing and for resiliency and scale. We actually looked at how Netflix and LinkedIn and Google built their clouds, and that's how we built our cloud. The beauty is we came late. We started Mist, the company that was acquired by Juniper in 2014, which is after AWS was invented. So all these other solutions that were leveraging the cloud were actually done before that. So we had the luxury of coming late and learning from what other people in the industry in the SaaS environment did to build our cloud. Third, there's AI. AI ops and AI-driven support. We are on our 7th generation of AI, our AI engine. We're the only vendor in the industry that has a virtual network assistant that can actually take this information, give proactive guidance, give predictive recommendations, do anomaly detection, use a conversational interface that's using generative AI to actually understand your questions and to give insight like no one else can provide. And then lastly, we add personalized location services on top of it. The same infrastructure that's being used for wireless can also be used for indoor location. With our patented virtual Bluetooth technology, you no longer need to glue battery beacons on the wall and program each individual device to wake up and to give greetings or to do wayfinding. That's all built into the system. So again, when you combine client-level visibility with a modern microservices cloud, the only real AI engine on the market today with integrated location services, the Juniper Mist solution for wireless really stands out from the crowd and differs from what no one else can provide. We say that this is part of the full AI-driven enterprise solution for campus and branch. So a little bit of history here. I came from Mist, which was acquired by Juniper about 4 years ago. Many people think that that acquisition was all about bringing wireless into the Juniper domain, which it did, but more importantly, it brought that cloud, it brought that AI engine that I mentioned prior. After the acquisition, we added Wired, our EX portfolio, into the mix. And then shortly after, we acquired a company called 128 Technologies, where we also added SD-WAN to that common domain. So that is our full campus and branch full stack, all managed via common cloud and AI engine. So if anyone's looking for that end-to-end assurance, that end-to-end insight, that end-to-end operational automation, no one else provides that. And that's really one of the things that makes us unique. But back to wired and wireless, right? This is the crown jewel of our enterprise campus and branch portfolio, our wireless solution, right? We are the leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We are the highest in ability to execute and the furthest in vision. And that's because we were the first to embrace all these technologies I mentioned a second ago. We're the only one that lets you do customizable service levels. We're the only one that's 100% API driven, so everything that's done on our platform could be 100% automated and exported and integrated with workflows like ServiceNow and elsewhere, right? We're the only vendor with things like dynamic packet capture, where we can capture problems in real time and store it in the cloud so you no longer have to do truck rolls, right? As well as just the ease of setting up policies and managing it via the cloud. We're the only one that delivers all of these things, which has led the top companies in the world, the top universities like Oxford and MIT, the top healthcare institutions like the VA administrations, the top enterprises like NVIDIA and ServiceNow to switch from previous Cisco, Aruba, and other deployments to Mist. And also what I'm going to show you is we're the only vendor to do true AI. And at the cornerstone of that is our Marvis Virtual Network Assistant. Marvis lets you do things like proactive actions, where you come in the morning and it'll literally tell you what's wrong with your network and how to go fix it. We call that our cup of coffee dashboard, where it's literally the only place you need to go. No more hunting and pecking through dashboards to understand what's going on in your network. And as we mentioned prior, Marvis is the first and only virtual network assistant with a conversational interface. So I'll show you how you can ask simple language questions and get very intuitive answers as to what's going on in your network. It is literally like having an AI assistant sitting right next to you. And many ask, is this real AI? Well, the true test of AI is you don't know the difference between a human and a computer. And Marvis is there. Marvis can answer questions 80, 90% on par with a human expert. And that's clearly the best in the industry and really drives strong cost savings as well as better insight and automation. But you know what? Rather than me trying to talk through this in PowerPoint, why don't we switch to the demo and let me show you in real time. So here we are in the Mist dashboard. And the first thing, as we mentioned, is that really differentiates us from the rest of the vendors and solutions out in the industry is that insight into user experiences. So for example, what I'm showing here is in the wireless domain, there's several specific parameters, time to connect, successful connections, coverage, roaming, that you can actually go in and customize for your individual environment. It could be by site, it could be by your entire, all your domains, etc. You can customize this any way you want. So for example, I can say I want all my users to connect in 4 seconds or less, right? Or I want them to roam between access points with this level of severity, or I want this 30 megabits or 10 megabits per second of throughput anywhere on my network, right? And now we've established these service levels where I can quickly look and see, are any pieces of my network not compliant with these service levels? I can also set up workflows because, again, everything is 100% automated. So if any one of these service levels falls below 80%, I can send my IT team a text, or I can immediately generate a trouble ticket with ServiceNow, or I can email all the right folks with recommendations, right? This could be completely automated as part of your network, really driving the cornerstone of automation and instant authorization as far as time to connect. Here's where the benefit of event correlation comes into play. Really, one of the benefits of the Juniper solution is we correlate information across the wired, wireless, WAN, and even the application domains like Zoom and Teams. So if something goes wrong, we help you get to the root cause that much quicker, right? We call it, in the wireless space, mean time to innocence, because everyone blames the Wi-Fi, right? The Wi-Fi sucks the minute something goes wrong, right? So if it really is something to do with the wireless, we'll tell you exactly where that was. Was it a time to connect, or was it a roaming failure? But if it had nothing to do with the wireless, we'll tell you that too, right? Was it an internet issue? Was it DHCP? Was there something else that was going on? Let me expand this time frame a little bit. We also can show you, again, what time of day was I consistently having problems. So for example, here, maybe I can see that I'm a school, and every morning at 8 a.m. when my users show up, I'm seeing a spike in latency, right? So these are the type of information that helps you, again, understand the network, what's happening in your domain, as well as the experiences on top of that. Another interesting thing is I can show you every single user that's impacted by this problem, right? It shows you very clearly on the screen, and then I can actually quickly double-click and walk in their shoes, see exactly what problems they were having, and I can even go further and see exactly what specific events they were going on, what time of day were they occurring. Now, I mentioned a little while ago this concept known as dynamic packet capture. Here's a great example of that, and a great example of AI in usage, right? If we detect a problem is occurring, for example, here's an authorization failure, we'll automatically start to capture packets in the cloud. What this means is I no longer have to go on site to try to recreate a problem, which maybe I can do and maybe I can't do. And it's expensive, right? Aside from the fact that I'm not even sure I can recreate the problem because maybe it was caused by someone opening a door and blocking an access point that I had no idea happened. And when I'm on site with a packet sniffer, I can't recreate. So one is it's hard to recreate, and two is it's very expensive to go on site and send people on site to go do that. Here we have all the data you need to troubleshoot and it's stored in the cloud. So I no longer have to go on site at all. So for example, The Gap, a customer I mentioned prior, by using this functionality, they've eliminated 85% of their truck rolls to stores. 85% of the time, they no longer have to send techs on site to troubleshoot problems anywhere throughout the world. So as you can imagine, that drives an enormous amount of cost savings. So again, that's showing you some of the service levels, some of the event correlation, some of the dynamic packet capture that's all associated with wireless to drive AI benefits through your domain. The next thing I'd like to show you is Marvis. So we talked about Marvis Actions, which is our cup of coffee dashboard here. Here you're actually seeing actions across all domains. So there's wired actions, for example, do I have a bad cable? That's a needle in a haystack problem. That's actually pretty hard to solve. We show it right here. I'm having switch issues, like switch health issues. Here I'm having a port flap. Again, sometimes difficult to find. WAN edge, I'm having an MTU mismatch. Again, very hard to find sometimes. We'll show it here in our cup of coffee dashboard. In the wireless domain, we actually are showing that 4 of our access points are offline. So which of those access points are they? You can see them real here. You can see them all here very easily, and then you can go double click and see what's going on. So again, here is the beauty of event correlation and AI and predictive analytics and proactive recommendations all coming together under one dashboard with Marvis, our virtual network assistant. We also mentioned how Marvis has a conversational interface. So I can actually ask it simple language questions and it'll understand the intent behind my questions and give me real insight. So for example, let's say our CEO, Sujay Hajela, complained the other day that he had a bad wireless experience. So let's come on in and say, you know what, why don't we troubleshoot Sujay? And here it's going to pop up. Here's his user. Let's see what was going on with Sujay's network, his client. You know what? Sujay didn't have anything wrong. So I don't know why Sujay was complaining. It wasn't anything on his client side, but we know he was in the conference room. So let's go check that out. So let's go troubleshoot the conference room. Okay. And here it's pulling up. It's looking at the conference room and it's coming in and say, you know what? Actually, this conference room, the AP was having some issues. Some of the clients were sticky. It has some poor coverage. So maybe that's one of the issues that was happening there. It wasn't a client level issue. it was an access point level issue, and here we can actually then go drill down and understand what's more in terms of the problem. Maybe I just want to come in and say, you know what, I'm not troubleshooting a specific problem, but you know what, just show me all my unhappy users, right? Who's just having a bad day in the network. Again, simple language query that you can't really do in a dashboard, but here it's going to come back and say, Jeff, here's all the users that are having problems in your network. If you want to drill down into any of these issues, any of these users, you can figure out exactly what's wrong, and it's all there at your fingertips. So again, here you can see, here's the power of an AI-driven virtual network assistant, things that you just could not do prior in terms of event correlation, insight, actions, are all right there at your fingertips. All right, so that was the demo. And look, we just scratched the surface. But as you can see, it's very powerful in terms of really driving AI in the cloud in terms of enhanced reliability, better resiliency, and better cost savings. But you know what? There's also one other benefit that's also part of wireless that often gets lost in the noise. And that's adding value on top of your wireless network. And by that, I mean, doing more personalized services or leveraging location to really drive more value added to the business, whether that's wayfinding, which is turn-by-turn directions, which could be used in the VA administration to go through their 2 million square foot facility, whether that's personalized greetings, like if someone shows up at a Halford store, at a Gap store, or PetSmart, and greet them with coupons, to just basic asset tracking in a factory or a warehouse or within a hospital. That's all part of the Juniper Mist system. And what's unique about us is our access points that are being used for wireless also have a built-in BLE Bluetooth antenna array. So the minute you walk into a room, you get covered with Bluetooth as well as Wi-Fi. So in the past, you actually would have to go glue battery beacons to the wall to do things like wayfinding and personalized greetings. Now that's actually built into our access point using machine learning in the cloud with a concept known as virtual beacons, where you can actually literally from the cloud set up any messages you want, any directions you want anywhere in your network, and have it completely change any time of day or any season using automation. So that's the power of Bluetooth. To show it in reality, here's a cool app that we have from the Orlando VA administration. We call this Uber for wheelchairs. So here is a combination of wayfinding and asset tracking all coming together. Whereas if someone on their multi-million square foot facility needs a wheelchair, they can actually request one. And then someone else can come back and say, you know what, I have your wheelchair, let me come meet you. And then you can actually track the progress of that wheelchair throughout the facility. Just like you can see your Uber car when it's coming, it tells you exactly how long it'll be there and where it is in your network, so you can go meet it if you want to go meet it. So again, this is the power of everything coming together under a common cloud, common AI engine, with common infrastructure for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and IoT together. In fact, the nice IoT application, the same facility has a ward for dementia patients where they give them BLE bracelets. And if a patient is walking towards a door without a nurse, it'll actually trigger the door lock, so it'll lock the door so the patient can't go off-site and can't get themselves in danger. So again, this is the power of bringing value-added services on top of basic connectivity to deliver the best operator and end-user experiences. Also, I'd be remiss if I point out that the other thing that makes Juniper unique is that our data science team actually sits right next to our support team. So actually, all of our trouble tickets are actually fed into our AI engine, so it's constantly getting better. Our whole goal is actually to eliminate trouble tickets entirely, or to at least be able to answer 80% of the problems using our virtual network assistant so that human interaction isn't even required. And as you can see, we're getting pretty darn close, right? Some of our latest measurements show that we're about 75 to 80% efficacy when it comes to answering problems within Marvis Virtual Network Assistant. In some customer environments, it's even better, right? ServiceNow is one of our customers, as well as our partners. They actually had an objective of eliminating 100% of inbound manual trouble tickets. We've got that to over 90%. 90% have been eliminated in the ServiceNow environment. They're basically down to one trouble ticket a month. So again, you can see real value being attributed from the Juniper domain. We mentioned, another big customer of ours is Dartmouth, right? What's unique about Dartmouth is their help desk is literally manned by grad students, and not grad students that are proficient in computer science or IT technology, just basic grad students, right? And so they're able to use Marvis to actually handle trouble tickets in one of the most complex environments in the world, right? If you think about it, a school every semester you have students showing up with dozens of new clients, and sometimes it's the best of breed, the brand new iPhone that came out, the brand new Xbox. So it's very difficult to troubleshoot and maintain that. And guess what? Students have pretty high criteria when it comes to connectivity, right? If their Xbox isn't working in their dorm, they're going to tweet about it and you're going to hear about it. So being able to leverage a virtual network assistant to provide support for that environment is huge. And then let's say I mentioned the Gap. The Gap was able to roll out new technology in their stores while enabling better shopper experience and better store experiences without having to go on site. They've eliminated 85% of truck rolls to their stores, which are huge cost savings, but also helps them meet their sustainability environment, their sustainability goals, right? Less truck rolls also means less carbon emissions. So this was an important differentiator for them for choosing the Juniper Mist solution. So again, we mentioned experience first networking is Juniper's true north. It's part of all of our solutions, whether it's our campus and branch solution for AI-driven enterprise, which we talked about here, to our automated WAN solution for connecting enterprise environments or connecting cloud environments or data center environments, to our cloud-ready data center, which is used to actually host the information and get you access to that information easier. All of that is coming together to deliver assured user experiences, better automation, all using a common cloud infrastructure. Thanks for joining me today. Look, we just scratched the surface. As you can imagine, there's so much that goes into an AI-driven wireless platform. If you want more information, there's a bunch of ways you can get it. We do SE tours, SE demos. We do a self-guided tour where you can check out the UI yourself. Or if you qualify, you can get your own free AP. Install it in your own network, install it in your home, and check it out. So with that, again, I'm Jeff Aaron, and thanks for joining me.